everybody. I am authoress Stephanie Lynn. I am here with friends. I am the host, and I am happy to be here with Don Morrison.
Hello, everyone.
How are you today, Don?
I'm great.
Good. And I am here with my handsome hunk of a son, Gene Williams. How are you today,
Hello.
son?
Doing excellent. How are you all today?
Doing good.
Doing good. Doing well.
All right. So, Don, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Don Morrison. I go by the pseudonym of Junior Lilly. I'm a writer, author, poet, a podcaster, creator of content, and I want to share my works with others in hopes that it moves them to inspire them to become writers, to become poets, to release what's inside, and just the power of writing can move mountains.
Yes, it can. It can. So, thank you for introducing yourself.
You're
So,
welcome.
Jean, tell us some things about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm a singer, songwriter, actor, model, screenwriter. I do a lot of creative things because creativity is cathartic for me. It's always been that way. I'm also a personal trainer, yoga instructor. So basically, I try to live a life of health. Try to be that example. Uh, and I'm very happy to be here. Very excited to share my poetry, which again, like I said, is a cathartic process for me.
Yes, that's great.
Thank you. Go ahead, Don. Did you have something to say?
No, I was saying that was great. He seemed like he has all the traits.
Yeah.
He's doing it all. So I don't say he's done it all. He's doing it all.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
he's been doing a lot for a lot of years, and he just keeps adding and keep adding. Which I that's me. That's what I do too, and that's what we all do. We
yes,
do something for a while, and then we see something else we need to add to it, or that we want to add to it, and then so before we know it, we're serial entrepreneurs.
exactly. Multiple
Yeah,
streams of revenue. You have to generate
Exactly.
that. It's not going to generate itself.
right.
Right. What you said, bro.
Yes, sir.
What you said.
So I invited Jean and Don to interview them because they are both, as they said, they are both poets. I have been doing some poetry myself again here recently. Um, and
Mm,
so I wanted to, I co authored a book with about 20 authors, and we did Black Lives Matter, and we did it right after the George Floyd killing last year,
mhm.
and the book was just published in February. So then I put that was a poem. My piece was a poem.
Okay.
And then in my workbook that I just recently published, I put some poems in there, and there were three that I found from '99 that I put in there, and then one as I was writing the workbook or revamping the workbook, another poem was added. So Don and Jean are going to share a few pieces of their poetry to give you a taste of what they got.
Yes.
So Don, share one of your pieces, please,
Sure. This will be
or a
taken
couple of
from
your pieces. If you want to go ahead and
this.
share a couple of
Sure.
them right now, that's good.
This will be taken from my latest book, The Journal Sessions on Books of Poetry, Volume 1. And it's just a collection of pieces that I've written throughout the years that I decided at one point I'm going to now put this all together. And I think the hardest challenge was coming up with a concept. If I was able to show the book's concept, you would see that it's the manuscript, the way I laid it out, the format, the follow through flows very elegantly and fluidly as you would want to read in a poetry book. I think poetry, the art of it is just as important as the writing or the words that are spoken. And I look at that different from when you're reading a history book. History book is kind of just laid out in monotone text. Poetry, you want to be very creative. So the one
Yeah.
that I'm going to read here is coming from um, chapter 42. And the title of it is called Follow No One. And I wrote this based on how I like to do things in life. I don't want to follow a man. I want to be guided by a spirit, by a higher power. And so I'm going to go ahead and start that.
Okay.
Make sure you can hear me here. Putting forth the best effort, only to be taken aback by decisions, planted firmly in the ways, deeply rooted, no equilibrium, falling off track, being sidetracked by the outcome, shocked by the turnout while pivoting on a fulcrum, never want to succumb to the pressures of the crowd, stand back, then proceed down the path aloud. Follow no one.
Wow. So, okay, you already said it. I was getting ready to ask you what you just said. You wrote it because you want to follow no one.
Yes.
I think I saw that. Did you put that one on Instagram?
Yes, I do put a
Okay.
lot of my works I share with my followers, just giving back, as we indicated in the start of this broadcast. The much as you take in, as much as you want to give back. And I just let my followers read my work as well as listen to my work when I do my podcast.
So tell us about that podcast, because I've heard pieces
Mhm.
of you doing your podcast and then reading your pieces. So
The podcast is called the Plot Twist Sessions podcast. It's available on Spotify, Google Podcasts. It's also on Anchor.fm is the platform that I use to record it. And it allows me to basically be my own creator, my own author, my own editor, my own publisher, producer. So I have creative control of the content as well as the music that I add to it. And it's all licensed. So I'm not robbing from Peter to pay Paul. I'm actually using licensed music that's authorized by them. And once I create the session, I post it online. It's available on my website. You can go to Spotify and look it up on the Plot Twist Sessions podcast or any other major platform. I got it uniquely set up so that if you search for it, boom, it's going to come up as one of the first hits. So you don't have to scroll through like 10 pages to find it. And there you go. That's me being raw, authentic, unadulterated, and just giving its purest form of poetic expression.
where did the name The Plot Twist come from? Where did you get that from?
I got that name with my co-author. We were discussing some things because I'm also working on a novel with the co-author, and we were just like, okay, what can we do to create some chaos or some confusion in the book? It's like a plot twist. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll confuse everybody because you think something is going one way, then all of a sudden, bam, I'm gonna switch it up on you. And you gotta be ready.
Yeah.
So yes, it came up with that concept.
Wow.
Awesome.
So is that the same person that you co-authored the first book with? Or is it a
Well,
different
the first two books is self-published by me. However, we are working on a trilogy novel, which I am co-authoring, and we've got the first one written. We're going through the editorial process, and from there, we're attempting to decide to pitch for major publication, which we've sent to editors and publication companies, and some bite, some don't. We try to get their opinion on how we should proceed. And
Yeah.
we've been only doing this for maybe a year or two, and we're going to decide, hey, we can put it out ourselves if no one bites, and hopefully someone will bite once it gets popular, or we will continue to grind that type of deal to see what can happen, because all it takes is one.
Yeah.
And it's sold.
Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So Jean, share one of your poems. Don, we're gonna come back to you to share another poem. So get it ready.
I'm getting it ready.
All right. So Jean, share one of your poems, please.
Okay. Well, this poem is called "Slowly Embers," and it was again, like I said, writing is cathartic for me. I was going through a rough situation in the relationship that I was in, and this was just kind of my way of counseling myself through the struggle.
Okay.
So again, it's called "Slowly Embers." All right. Slowly, Embers that burn hotter than 7 suns seem to descend all the way down to room temperature. The formerly volcanic heat that bound us together seems to be losing its adhesive nature. Heat travels away like unexpected adventures. Now it seems like the ship of a relation that we built in passion is slowly searching for an iceberg to sink. Hundreds of casualties concealed in the caption. I miss the times when we could randomly, passionately rub our celestial bodies together and create a flame that will put any solar deity to shame. I'm in a sentimental mood. Life is a coal train, and I'm missing the warmth of your symphony. I would love to run through the force of your femininity, lose myself, erect indestructible monuments of us as you blow your melodic horn like Pan for me. Stir your sweet cauldron until it bubbles over and devour you like a steaming pot of gumbo. Lick your bowl spick and spot clean until your juices drip down every follicle of my beard. And take you away from here to a timeless dimension that I created exclusively for us. And I will take you away from here, take you somewhere where love is like breathing. We inspire and respire as one. Our moans become theme music. Our bodies are the orchestra. The clouds open, the gods shine down upon the passion offering. Our minds locked as one. We laid the foundation for our new heaven and new earth, manifesting that which we truly desire, nurturing the seeds of our new reality into birth. Honestly, I just yearn for us to find our rhythm again, singing each other's melody in angelic harmonies, unison. I miss being the heat that warms your cold shoulder, the one that devours that chip and then magnetically pulls you closer. I yearn to hear the echoes of your laughter bouncing off the walls of my mind's corridor. I often reminisce about the joy I felt when you would, out of the blue, kiss me, gaze into my eyes lovingly, and nestle your head close to my heart, almost as if you were entranced, tuning your frequency to mine. Man, those sounds were so sublime, like a glimpse of the love of the divine. Often, I take trips back to the future in my mind just to push play after we rewind and then live in that heaven just one more time. That's it.
Oh,
His poems
well
be
said.
deep.
No, that's the poem. He's mixing poetry with the music expression with it, so it definitely can gravitate to the listener and pull them in a little bit more.
Appreciate
That's
that.
awesome, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate that, brother.
Have you done that like in front of someone, like at a poetry recital or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I have. I did. It wasn't this poem. It was another one, kind of similar. With my band, I have a band as well.
Okay.
You know, we were performing, and I did that at the end of another song.
Okay, it's nice. It's nice, man.
That.
I like that work.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, his poetry be deep.
That's the type of poetry when you hear it coming from an artist such as myself, and you want to be like, it almost like fuels your fire to like, I want to create something as great as that. So you continue to want to feed off that. It's almost like you're playing sports. You know, you're playing against another great player. You're like, okay, I want to play as good as this person. So if you hear someone recite something, you're like, oh man, I got to get on my horse now because now I just been showed up, right? Yeah. Yes, that's the competitive nature of it, though, really, in all aspects.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So that's the funny that you say that, because I still listen to people like Saul Williams, Ursula Rucker, Toni Morrison. I listen to people like that and just listen to the way that they play on words, and it just inspires me to just like try to go deeper, trying to find another way to express the same emotion that we all feel, just in a way that is unique to me,
Yes. The power of writing, the power in writing. When it's expressed, you can, like I say, everything to me, the concept of society is based on writing. If we go back to the original poetic manuscript, which is the Bible, the power in that writing is what moves the soul, right? Someone had to write that, so they wrote it in a way that when you hear it, you're like, man, you confess your sins, you sacrifice your soul for Jesus. So yes, the power that's in writing, you put that in poetry form, anybody can listen to that and they'll be moved.
Yeah.
Gene, I like how you said, through your writings, you counsel yourself. I never seen that like that. However, I know that writing is one way of releasing emotions.
Right.
Um, so for you to put it that way was different, but that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and that helps you to calm yourself or to basically to look at stuff from another perspective, helps you to view from another perspective. That's pretty cool. Um, so Don, do you have will you read another poem,
Yes,
please?
this is one that I've written for my next upcoming project called Afterthoughts of Epiphany. And I've let me give Gene a little bit backside. When I was originally writing, I was just throwing stuff together and I was posting it to Facebook. And I was like, okay, I need to channel my energy. So the reason I call it an epiphany series, because that's what it was. I woke up, I had an idea, I had a vision to go forward. So my first book was entitled Thoughts During an Epiphany. And the next book is going to be Afterthoughts of an Epiphany. So I'm continuing that thought. And then the final one will be an Epiphany reprise. So I'm going to continue that. But this one is for the next book. And I got a visual concept of it. I pretty much got it written. I just want to, again, put that artistic expression into the layout of it. So when it rolls off the press, it's going to look beautiful in word form as well as visual. And this one is titled What If? It's going to go a little bit deep because when I wrote it in 2019, right when the murders of our young Black men were happening. And it was just bothering me. And I in my outlet, as Gene indicated, is therapeutic as well, because I'm writing to get those desires and thoughts on paper. And then I always go back and refine it so that it makes sense. Because when I'm writing, I just write nonstop, no editing, just whatever comes out. And here we go with What If. What if the world was a little different? Not by design, but the way we dreamed it. All those goals and achievements, everything you said you were going to do and meant it. All those places you wanted to visit, family, loved ones, everything that was forgotten. You can now distribute the wisdom, several generations of ancestral intellect, a vision for the future unforeseen by others. What if you could share the knowledge with the Nostradamus dialect? Self-reflect, self-respect now shown to the masses. This self-hate, unorganized debate of poison politics, chaotic conflicts have no place in this world. The world where I live, it's not all roses, but my view is based on how I want to give. Giving back to society, making sure sobriety is present when teaching the lesson so that it will be absorbed without any confusion. As I come to my conclusion, what if is no longer a place in time where we would measure our progress? What if is no longer a condition, but a state of mind? At a point in time, where what if is no longer defined.
I think I saw that on Instagram too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. What if?
Thanks. What if?
What if?
Yeah, when I did the podcast, I was able to be a little bit more relaxed and I use my Barry White voice when you're saying it, so you get a little bit more gravel in it and more grime. So when you're listening and it has the music playing, it's a little bit more serious, because when I'm saying it, I give that expression of like, come listen to me. It's almost like you're speaking from a higher authority, and it pulls people in. This was, I think, was not as a great of expression of reading it based on when I did it on the podcast. But it is available to hear it on Spotify. So
I heard it on the podcast and I heard that voice. I was like, whoa.
yeah. I mean, it's almost like when I do the podcast, I want to think of when you hear Morgan Freeman speaking or Denzel Washington, that baritone where when it resonates and you like, I gotta listen to this person. He's about to say something that's worth listening to, and that's the
Yeah.
way I change my voice when I'm doing the podcast. This is kind of like just lazy fair right now.
No, you relax.
Yes.
And that's okay. Thank you for that. That's
Welcome.
awesome. Jean, read another poem, please.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so this the poem itself is called "I'm a Walking Spell." It was actually based off of a conversation I had with one of my IG friends. She and I, like, our birthdays are really close, so we have a similar energy. And she told me one day, she was like, "Boy, you're a walking spell," and I'm like, "Huh? Okay." So I'm like, I'm gonna write to that. So so yeah. So this is kind of this poem is like, you have those poems where you battle and you kind of brag a little bit, um, just to, I don't know, uh, just to show you can take yourself to a position of, I feel powerful, and that's
Okay.
kind of the message behind this.
Okay.
I'm a walking spell, you're a walking spell, we're all a walking spell. Right. So I've been told that I'm a walking spell, that my intense gaze could convince you to walk through the fires of hell. You would never feel the lick of the flame. My vibe is like the utterance of ancient angelic tongues understood well. My swag is otherworldly, cosmic even, the culmination of divine energy stirred up into this wicked witch's brew, steaming like a bubbling cauldron, and it would take just a whiff of the delicious aroma for me to vex you. Cross someone that I love, and I will hex you. Voodoo doll, pinprick, and shrunken head you. I assure you, you don't want no trouble with my dark juju. Like the salivating mouth of Galactus, I will season you to taste and then completely devour you. Could implode or empower you. Then smudge your energetic imprint from existence because I've got the power to. Every word, every syllable I speak is a conjuration. Every thought pattern is like the threads of a Nancy's web, luring you closer and closer to a sweet, juicy death, only to be reborn again in bliss. Suck your soul out and then return it in the same kiss. Spit rum into your wild fire like the brujo that I am, because my ancestors blessed me with this magic. Spin multiple dimensions into existence with my passion, intense like the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Send your soul to the bone like hot lava if you pursued this. I even gave life to paper with this pen. Heal wounded souls with every line I spit. Forget the Vicodin. Could heal or kill whole civilizations if I see fit. But I'd rather keep a spark split to my lips and completely lose myself in the back and forth swing of my lady's pendulum hips, taking her in gulps like shots of vodka because I'm way too barren zombie to sip. Got me tapping on my arm, trying to find a vein to intravenously inject this. That's kind of where I
Nice.
ended it.
That's nice.
I'm
Appreciate
scared.
It moves. It moves you. It moves you. I like the wordplay, the way the words are used. It's a little feedback here. So yeah, I'm getting. Yeah, it's very riveting of soul catching there. I mean, it's just like sit straight up. Yeah, I like that though. I like that.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Make me a little nervous. um, we are almost out of time.
Mhm.
So I want y'all to both of y'all to tell what happens to you when you okay, I got the counseling part and that is therapeutic. Is there anything else that happens to you and for you when you write your poetry?
You asking me?
Both of y'all to answer that question. Or what can you give maybe I should be asking what can you give somebody to help them to encourage them to write their emotions out on paper versus doing anything else with
Okay.
their anger, in
I can
response in response to the
take you up
poetry.
on that. My thought of it is when I it's like poetry is a concept with no limits. When I hear words, we're having this conversation now. I've heard Gene speak. I've heard you, Stephanie, speak. I'm on clients all day. I hear them speak. Words come to me, and when something rings a bell, I either write it down, create some type of memory of that word, and then I let it marinate for a bit. I add bits and pieces, and I don't know. I may have shared this with you from our previous conversation. When I write a a poetry piece, I write the ending first. So the ending is wrote however I want it to end. That's wrote first based on that word, and then I build backwards from that to the beginning. It's kind of a oddball way of doing it, but that's the way I've always written my poetry. And through that process, it's almost like layer upon layer. I'm just building the we rap, we call it bars, but I'm just laying the lines upon lines. And usually I give it 16 lines. If I want to go deeper, I can. If I just want to keep it short and sweet, I can do that as well. I give them 8, give them 4. But yeah, that's how I write my poetry. And it's just a concept of thought. And there is no limit to what you write. It's how you write and when you want to write and what you want the reader to experience.
Wow. So, Gene, what's your response to that?
Yeah, I would say something similar actually. To me, like writing a poem is kind of like weaving a an expensive garment or painting a picture. You have a concept in your mind, uh, and the concept in your mind is a whole. And now it's like you said, almost like not. I don't quite go backwards. I start with. It usually for me starts like a line or two, maybe 4, and it's like my goal is to always to give you a concept of what I'm feeling on the inside, um, through the words that I'm using and the way that I'm using. Um, and something I always encourage people who want to write poetry to understand that it's not always about rhyming or even necessarily having a clever way of putting something. It's about the expression. It's about finding a way to take a thought, a concept that's in your head, and putting it on a piece of paper that for the writer themselves is kind of gives them a certain sense of peace. And then when the reader reads it, they will pick up on that same energy, and they may, like you said, you may see a totally different story, you know. But ultimately, for me, it's like weaving, a garment, painting a picture, or even administering some kind of healing for the person who's reading.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow,
That's very deep.
it is. And we are out of time. I
Mhm.
want to say thank you to both of you for coming, sharing your poetry,
Mhm.
and sharing what you feel, your
Yes.
emotions about the poetry and what it does for you. People
Yeah.
need to hear that, and um, people need to write. I mean, it helps,
Yes.
um, and it does not only help you, based on what y'all said. It helps the readers, helps those that are reading.
Mhm.
So I just want to say again, thank you both, Don and Jean. um,
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all coming. And for those that are listening, their information, contact information will be connected to this video, so that you can, contact them, if you'd like, um, for whatever reason, because I don't know what you may have heard from them that you may want to contact them. So I just want to say thank you again. Again, I am author Rest Stephanie Lynn. And I am here with Don Morrison and Gene Williams. Thanks, guys. Y'all take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice to meet you, Don.
Yes, sir. Make sure